सेम ट्रेनिंग, सेम रूल बुक, मतलब एवरीथिंग इज सेम। ऑफिसर ए उसी रूल बुक को यूज करके हजारों लोगों की लाइफ ट्रांसफॉर्म कर देती है।
राइट।
और ऑफिसर बी, वेल, वो बस फाइल्स पुश करते रहते हैं एक लूप में फंसे हुए।
हाँ, ये तो होता है।
तो डिफरेंस कहाँ है? रूल्स में? नहीं। सीक्रेट इंग्रेडिएंट मेरे दोस्त है एटीट्यूड।
एटीट्यूड, बिल्कुल।
यही वो मैजिक है जो एक सिंपल एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर को एक ट्रू लीडर बनाता है।
ट्रू।
तो दोस्त, इफ यू आर रेडी टू डीकोड कि ये पॉजिटिव एटीट्यूड बनता कैसे है और सिविल सर्विसेज में ये इतना क्रिटिकल क्यों है, तो यू आर इन एग्जैक्टली द राइट प्लेस।
एब्सोल्युटली।
इससे पहले कि हम इस ऑसम नॉलेज पैक्ड जर्नी पर निकले, एक क्विक फेवर, जल्दी से सब्सक्राइब बटन दबा दो, नोटिफिकेशन बेल ऑन कर लो एंड ऑफ कोर्स लाइक और कमेंट करना मत भूलना।
प्लीज डू।
चलो लेट्स बिगिन।
पूरी डिस्कशन एथिक्स पेपर के कुछ बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चंस पर बेस्ड होगी।
अच्छा, PYQs, द बेस्ट सोर्स।
एग्जैक्टली। इसे एक रोड मैप की तरह समझो टू अंडरस्टैंड द माइंडसेट ऑफ अ सिविल सर्वेंट।
परफेक्ट।
हम 2022 के क्वेश्चन से स्टार्ट करेंगे, ये देखने के लिए कि पॉजिटिव वर्सेस नेगेटिव माइंडसेट परफॉर्मेंस को कैसे इंपैक्ट करता है।
ओके, परफॉर्मेंस डिफरेंस, गॉट इट।
देन हम 2021 टू फिगर आउट हाउ टू बिल्ड द राइट एटीट्यूड फॉर अ पब्लिक सर्वेंट।
द हाउ टू पार्ट, इंटरेस्टिंग।
उसके बाद अ 2020 क्वेश्चन विल शो अस कि एक्सट्रीम स्ट्रेस में पॉजिटिव एटीट्यूड में क्या कंट्रीब्यूट करता है।
स्ट्रेस मैनेजमेंट एंड एटीट्यूड, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट।
नेक्स्ट अप इज अ सुपर इंटरेस्टिंग 2017 क्वेश्चन, एथिकल यंग लोग पॉलिटिक्स में क्यों नहीं आना चाहते।
ओह, ये तो है ह्यूज डिबेट है।
इट इज। फिर 2016 से 2 सवाल हैं। पहला, एजुकेटेड इंडियंस में अनडिजायरेबल एटीट्यूड्स और उन्हें कैसे बदलें।
ओके।
और दूसरा, स्वच्छ भारत अभियान की सक्सेस में सोशल इन्फ्लुएंस का रोल।
हाँ, बिहेवियरल चेंज, कूल।
Then we'll tackle the 2015 question on bureaucratic versus democratic attitudes.
रूल्स वर्सेस पीपल, क्लासिक डायलेमा।
And finally, 2014 के क्वेश्चन के साथ हम एक्सप्लोर करेंगे कि कास्ट सिस्टम जैसे सोशल प्रॉब्लम्स पर इतने कॉन्ट्रास्टिंग एटीट्यूड्स क्यों हैं।
वाओ, दैट्स अ कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव लिस्ट।
So, get ready for a deep analysis.
Question. The rules and regulations provided to all the civil servants are same, yet there is difference in the performance. Positive-minded officers are able to interpret the rules and regulations in favor of the case and achieve success, whereas negative-minded officers are unable to achieve goals by interpreting the same rules and regulations against the case. Discuss with illustrations. 2022.
Broad micro theme. Attitude as a performance differentiator. The heading for this is Rules versus Mindset, the real game changer.
देखो, ये क्वेश्चन बेसिकली कह रहा है कि असली खेल रूल्स जानने का नहीं है,
Precisely.
बल्कि उन्हें देखने के नजरिए का है।
Precisely. The core ethical dilemma here is something called navigating the spirit versus the letter of the law.
स्पिरिट वर्सेस द लेटर, ये बहुत पावरफुल कॉन्सेप्ट
है ना? एक पॉजिटिव ऑफिसर रूल्स को एक टूल की तरह देखता है, एन इनेबलर फॉर पब्लिक वेलफेयर।
और अ नेगेटिव ऑफिसर,
वो उन्हें एक रिस्ट्रिक्टिव बैरियर, एक दीवार की तरह देखता है।
आई लव दैट फ्रेमिंग। मैं एक रियल लाइफ एग्जांपल ट्राई करती हूँ। इमेजिन करो, कोविड-19 लॉकडाउन का पीक टाइम है।
ओके, वेरी हाई स्ट्रेस सिचुएशन।
हाँ, एक डिस्ट्रिक्ट मैजिस्ट्रेट को हजारों स्ट्रैंडेड माइग्रेंट लेबरर्स की हेल्प करनी है। अब लेटर ऑफ द लॉ सिंपल है, इंटरस्टेट ट्रैवल इज बैंड, फुल स्टॉप।
राइट, द रूल इज क्लियर।
द नेगेटिव माइंडेड डीएम कहेगा, सॉरी माय हैंड्स आर टाइड, रूल्स आर रूल्स, केस क्लोज्ड।
फाइल बंद।
एग्जैक्टली, बट द पॉजिटिव माइंडेड डीएम स्पिरिट ऑफ द लॉ के बारे में सोचेगी। ट्रैवल बैन क्यों लगाया गया? टू सेव लाइव्स, राइट? नॉट टू लेट पीपल स्टार्व।
हाँ, द इंटेंशन वाज सेफ्टी।
तो वो कहेगी, ओके, ट्रैवल इज बैंड बट द स्पिरिट इज पब्लिक वेलफेयर, सो लेट्स यूज द रूल्स टू क्रिएट सेफ शेल्टर्स, फूड कैंप्स एंड मेडिकल फैसिलिटीज राइट हियर।
ब्रिलियंट।
दैट्स द डिफरेंस बिटवीन अ प्रॉब्लम सॉल्वर एंड अ फाइल पुशर। समझे?
दैट्स अ परफेक्ट इलस्ट्रेशन। अब लेट्स ब्रेक डाउन कि इसका आंसर स्ट्रक्चर कैसे करना है।
ओके।
1. इंट्रोडक्शन। यू हैव टू गेट स्ट्रेट टू द पॉइंट। स्टार्ट बाय स्टेटिंग कि सिविल सर्वेंट की इफेक्टिवनेस सिर्फ रूल्स जानने में नहीं है, बल्कि उनके माइंडसेट में है।
और वो स्पिरिट वर्सेस लेटर वाला पॉइंट मेंशन करना जरूरी है।
2. बॉडी। यहाँ पे एग्जांपल्स आते हैं। फर्स्ट, लेट्स टॉक अबाउट पॉजिटिव एट्रीब्यूट्स।
ओके।
प्रोएक्टिव अप्रोच। ये वो ऑफिसर्स हैं जो प्रॉब्लम के एक्सप्लोड होने का वेट नहीं करते। They anticipate it.
अच्छा, पहले से तैयारी।
Yes. The source material gives a great example. The disaster management during the 2018 Kerala floods, led by Tom Jose. उन्होंने पहले से तैयारी कर रखी थी, which saved countless lives. That's proactiveness.
Right.
Innovative solutions. This is about adapting the rules to the context, not just following them blindly.
The example of using drones to deliver vaccines in remote areas of Arunachal Pradesh is so cool, na?
Exactly. Normally logistics वहाँ एक nightmare होता, but they found a creative, rule-compliant way to solve it.
Innovation in governance.
Optimism and perseverance. This is the can-do attitude, even when things get tough.
IS officer Armstrong Palme की story legendary है.
Oh, the People's Road guy from Manipur?
The very same. He wanted to build a road, but government funding नहीं थी. A negative person would have given up. उन्होंने क्या किया?
He used crowdfunding.
Yes, to build a 100-kilometer People's Road.
That's insane perseverance.
Truly inspiring.
Now let's look at how these attributes lead to effective implementation.
Okay.
Crisis management.
Emergency में you need speed and flexibility. The Odisha government's effective use of disaster relief funds during Cyclone Fani is a classic example.
A positive mindset aid को fast पहुंचाने पर focus करता है, red tape में फंसने पर नहीं. Correct. Welfare programs. This is where empathy shines. A positive officer ensures कि MGNREGA जैसी schemes actually उन लोगों तक पहुंचे जिन्हें need है, like the successful implementation in Andhra Pradesh showed.
It's not just about spending money, it's about changing lives.
Exactly. Regulatory enforcement. Here you need to be fair but firm. The source mentions SEBI's proactive measures to protect investors. They don't just react to scams, they create systems to prevent them.
Proactive again, I see a pattern.
3. Conclusion. To wrap it up, you should summarize by saying that a positive mindset, which is rooted in strong ethics, is the true foundation of effective governance.
Or to make it more powerful, we can quote thinkers.
Yes. The source suggests Kautilya's Arthashastra, which states that a ruler's ultimate duty is the welfare of the people. You can also bring in Swami Vivekananda's ideas on selfless service.
Wow, this connects the answer to a grander philosophical tradition. That's a fantastic breakdown. चलो इस पे कुछ क्रॉस क्वेश्चंस करते हैं.
Go for it.
1. How can I make the introduction even more impactful and grab the examiner's attention?
Start with a powerful quote or a sharp analogy. For instance, for a civil servant, the rule book is a compass, not a cage. This answer explores how the best officers use it to navigate towards public welfare.
Oh, I like that. A compass, not a cage.
Sets the tone perfectly.
2. How should I integrate the examples into the body so the answer doesn't feel like just a list?
Use smooth transition phrases. Instead of just listing, say things like, a fitting illustration of this proactive approach is, or to see innovation in action, we can consider the case of.
Right. Make it a narrative.
Exactly.
3. Is it enough to just give positive examples?
Nay, the best answers create a contrast. While talking about Armstrong Pame, you could briefly add, a negative-minded officer, in contrast, would have likely cited a lack of funds and abandoned the project, leaving the people isolated.
Ah, the contrast strengthens the point. Makes sense.
A lot.
4. How can I make the conclusion memorable and not just a summary?
Connect your final sentence back to a larger, inspiring vision. Talk about nation building or fulfilling the dreams of our constitutional founders. End on a high note.
Go from specific to grand.
Yes.
5. What are the top 5 keywords I absolutely must use in this answer to maximize my marks?
Definitely use proactive, citizen-centric, spirit of the law, innovative, and public welfare. These are the words that signal a deep understanding. Now pause and practice saying the key positive attributes of an officer. Rehearse.
In short, success in civil service isn't about just knowing the rules. It's about having the positive attitude to interpret them for the greater good.
Question. Attitude is an important component that goes as input in the development of human being. How to build a suitable attitude needed for a public servant?
2021. Broad micro theme. Cultivating the public service attitude. The topic is the making of a public servant's mind. ये question basically पूछ रहा है कि how do you build that ideal public servant's mindset? You know, the one that's selfless, empathetic, and objective.
Exactly. It's not about what the attitude is, but how you cultivate it.
The process of building it.
Yes. Let's use an analogy. Think of a young officer who's just joined the service. Initially, unka input might be ambition, career growth, prestige, a good salary, and there's nothing wrong with that.
That's a natural starting point.
But over time, the system adds new inputs. The training at the academy, the mentorship from a senior officer who is deeply ethical.
And most importantly, seeing the real-world impact of their decisions.
Yes. एक गांव में पहली बार clean water आना, a child getting a chance at education. These experiences transform the initial input of personal ambition into the final output of a genuine public service attitude.
It's a developmental process. समझे?
That's a great way to put it. Okay, let's break down the answer.
Let's do it.
1. Introduction. You should start by defining attitude and its role in human development. Then immediately connect it to a public servant.
Stating that for them, this attitude must be aligned with core public service values.
Correct. The source suggests a cool value add, referencing Aristotle's virtue ethics.
Oh, how would we explain that? Simply.
You can say the great philosopher Aristotle said that becoming a good person is like building a muscle. You have to practice good habits every day. The same applies to building a public servant's attitude.
I love that. So simple and powerful.
2. Body. First, let's discuss the role of attitude in development.
Okay.
Emotional intelligence. This is the ability to understand and manage your own emotions and those of others.
A public servant deals with people in all kinds of situations. Anger, distress, happiness. Without EI, you can't be effective.
Exactly. You can mention initiatives by the Emotional Intelligence Consortium India.
Empathy and compassion. It's not enough to just solve a problem mechanically. You need to genuinely feel the needs of the people.
A great example is Gujarat's Seva Setu program, where government officials go to the villages to deliver services rather than making people come to them. That shows an empathetic approach.
Taking the government to the people.
Openness to learning. The world is changing fast, and so are the challenges of administration. A public servant must be a lifelong learner.
The government's I Got Karma Yogi platform is a perfect example for this, right? It's an online portal for continuous capacity building.
Spot on. Now for the second part of the body, the how-to guide. Cultivating a service mentality.
Okay, the core of the question.
Citizen-centric approach. This means keeping the citizen at the center of every decision. The PMO's Pragati platform, which monitors and resolves public grievances, is a powerful example of this.
Impartiality and objectivity. Decisions must be based on merit and evidence, not personal bias or pressure.
This is a foundational value of civil service. The Right to Information Act is a tool that promotes this by enforcing transparency.
Integrity and honesty. This is the bedrock of public trust. You can't have good governance without it.
And the establishment of institutions like the Lokayuktas in states to fight corruption is an example of an institutional mechanism to promote integrity.
Right.
3. Conclusion. You should conclude by saying that fostering these qualities isn't just about creating good officers. It's essential for nation building.
To make it really impactful, we can refer to Mahatma Gandhi's philosophy of Sarvodaya, which means the welfare and upliftment of all.
Yes. This connects the individual attitude of a civil servant to a grand national vision.
Perfect. Let's practice with some cross questions.
Should.
1. How can I add a philosophical touch to this answer without it sounding too academic?
Mention thinkers but explain their core ideas simply. For example, like Gandhi believed in Sarvodaya or the upliftment of all, a public servant's attitude must aim for the welfare of the last person in the line.
Simple and direct.
Exactly.
2. How do I structure the how to build part of the answer so it's easy to read?
Use clear, action-oriented subheadings. For instance, fostering empathy through field visits, promoting integrity via robust vigilance, encouraging lifelong learning with digital platforms.
This makes the answer very structured.
Very.
3. How can I make my examples sound specific and not generic?
Always name the program or policy. Instead of saying online training, say I got Karma Yogi platform. Instead of anti-corruption bodies, name Lokayuktas or the Central Vigilance Commission.
Specificity adds credibility.
It does.
4. How can I link my introduction and conclusion together for a better flow?
Reiterate the core idea. If you started with Aristotle's idea of building character like a muscle, you can end by saying, therefore, by consistently training these muscles of empathy, integrity, and objectivity, we build public servants who become the strong backbone of our nation.
A complete circle of thought. Nice.
And finally,
5. What's the best way to explain attitude as an input, as the question asks?
use that powerful analogy we discussed. Just as high-quality steel is the essential input for a strong building, a positive and ethical attitude is the foundational input for a great public servant and, by extension, a resilient nation.
Fantastic. Now pause and practice saying the key pillars of a public servant's attitude. Practice.
Intelligence, deep empathy, and a strong citizen-first service mentality.
Question. A positive attitude is considered to be an essential characteristic of a civil servant who is often required to function under extreme stress. What contributes to a positive attitude in a person? 2020.
Broad micro-theme. Factors contributing to a positive attitude. The topic here is staying positive when the pressure is on. Let's be real, a civil servant's job is incredibly stressful.
Oh, absolutely. They deal with riots, natural disasters, intense political pressure, you name it.
Exactly. This question is asking, in such high-stress environments, what are the factors, both internal and external, that help a person maintain a positive attitude?
This is so important. I mean, just think of the officers who were managing relief work during the 2004 tsunami.
Unimaginable situation.
They were surrounded by immense tragedy, working 24/7. What keeps a person going in a situation like that? It can't just be their salary.
No way.
It has to be something deeper, a powerful sense of duty, incredible emotional resilience, and the support of their team. That's a positive attitude in action under the most extreme stress imaginable.
Exactly. Let's break down the answer.
Okay.
1. Introduction. You must start by acknowledging the high-stress nature of the job. You should frame a positive attitude not as a nice-to-have personality trait, but as a core professional competency.
An absolute necessity for making clear decisions when the pressure is on.
Perfect. 2. Body. This answer is best structured into two parts, internal factors and external factors. First, let's talk about cultivating a positive mindset, internal factors.
All right, what's first?
Solution-oriented approach. This is about mindset. Do you see a problem as a dead end or as a challenge to be solved?
The source gives the example of the Kerala government's rebuilding efforts after the 2018 floods. They didn't just see destruction, they saw an opportunity to build back better.
Yes, with a participatory approach. Then comes emotional regulation. This is your ability to manage your emotions, to stay calm in a storm. The source suggests mentioning Stoic philosophy.
Oh, interesting. How can we explain that simply?
The ancient Stoic philosophers taught that we should focus our energy only on what we can control, not on what we can't. The calm and composed demeanor of officers during a disaster is a real-world example of this.
Focus on the controllable. Powerful.
Gratitude and mindfulness. This might sound a bit soft, but it's scientifically proven to build resilience.
Taking a moment to appreciate the positive things, even in tough times, can change your perspective. The source mentions platforms like Give India that promote positive action.
Yes. Now for the second part, external influences and reinforcement. Attitude isn't built in a vacuum.
Right. The environment matters.
Mentorship and role models. Having an experienced, resilient senior to guide you is invaluable. A good mentor can help a young officer navigate stress and avoid burnout.
The Mentoring Young Minds program by the Ministry of Skill Development is a good example of this principle.
Yes.
Organizational culture. This is huge. A supportive, non-toxic work environment is critical. If your organization cares about your well-being, it's much easier to stay positive.
The source mentions the Reserve Bank of India's focus on employee well-being programs as a model example. What's for e-governance, for example, are a way of recognizing and rewarding innovation and hard work.
Which reinforces a positive attitude. It all connects.
3. Conclusion. To conclude, you should state that a positive attitude is a powerful mix of internal resilience and a supportive external environment.
And to give it a solid theoretical backing, the source suggests mentioning Bandura's social learning theory.
Correct. It says that we learn our attitudes and behaviors by observing and interacting with others in our environment.
Great. Time for the cross-question round.
I'm ready.
1. Why is it so important to distinguish between internal and external factors in this answer?
Because it shows a mature, nuanced understanding. It proves you know that attitude isn't just a matter of personal choice, just be positive, but that it's also heavily shaped by the system and the organizational culture.
It's a holistic view.
Exactly.
2. How can I add psychological concepts to this answer to make it sound more profound?
Apart from Stoicism and Bandura's theory, you can mention concepts like emotional intelligence or resilience. Using these specific terms adds intellectual depth.
It shows you know the jargon.
In a good way, yes.
3. How do I make sure my examples are clearly linked to the context of stress?
Don't just state the example, explicitly connect it to stress management. For instance, a positive organizational culture like that at the RBI directly reduces officer burnout, thereby enhancing their ability to handle high-pressure situations effectively.
Make the connection explicit. Got it.
Yes.
4. Is it a good idea to mention personal habits in this answer?
Yes, absolutely. Mentioning practical habits like mindfulness, exercise, or having a hobby makes the answer more relatable and shows you're thinking about the officer as a whole person.
Right, not just a robot.
Precisely.
5. How can I make my conclusion actionable, like a policy recommendation?
You can suggest that government departments should actively invest in creating a positive culture through structured mentorship programs and fair recognition systems, seeing it as an investment in their officers' effectiveness.
Chalo, now pause and try to list out 3 internal and 3 external factors that build a positive attitude. Practice saying them. In short, a positive attitude under stress is forged from the combination of inner strength, like emotional regulation, and outer support, like good mentorship and a healthy work culture.
Question. Young people with ethical conduct are not willing to come forward to join active politics. Suggest steps to motivate them to come forward.
2017. Broad micro-theme, encouraging ethical youth in politics. The topic is, where are the young ethical leavers? This is such a relevant question. We all know that good, well-educated, ethical young people are often hesitant to join active politics.
It's a huge paradox, isn't it?
It is. Why is that? And more importantly, what can we do to motivate them?
Think about the most honest, principled, hardworking student in your college. The one who always does the right thing.
Okay, I have someone in mind.
Would you advise them to join politics?
Probably not.
Tackling that very perception and the reality behind it.
Exactly. So how would we structure an answer for this?
1. Introduction. You should start by highlighting this paradox. Democracy desperately needs ethical leaders, but the political system itself often repels them.
For a great intellectual touch, we can reference Plato's classic book, The Republic, where he talks about the tension between ideal governance and the messy reality of power.
Perfect start. 2. Body. This needs to be in 2 clear parts, the problems and the solutions. First, the barriers to entry.
Okay, what are the biggest barriers?
Lack of transparency. This is a big one, especially in campaign financing. It creates an unfair system where money power often wins over merit.
The recent debates around electoral bonds are a perfect example to mention here, as they raise questions about transparency.
Yes, criminalization of politics. The presence of people with criminal records in politics is a massive red flag for any ethically conscious young person.
You must quote the reports by the Association for Democratic Reforms, ADR, as they provide data on this alarming trend.
Essential. Focus on short-term gains. Politics is often driven by the pressure to win the next election, which leads to populist schemes rather than sound long-term policies.
For an idealistic young person who wants to create real change, this can be very frustrating. The classic example is farm loan waivers versus investing in sustainable agriculture.
Exactly. Now for the second, more optimistic part of the body. Motivating ethical youth. The solutions.
Yes, the constructive part.
Mentorship programs. We need to create pathways for experienced and ethical political leaders to mentor young aspirants. This would provide guidance, support, and a clean network.
The source suggests that the model of the Gandhi Fellowship program could be adapted for this.
Good point. Promoting inner-party democracy. Political parties themselves need to become more transparent and democratic. If tickets and posts are given based on merit and internal elections rather than family connections or money, it will create a level playing field.
The Election Commission's constant push for this is a good point to mention.
Yes. And finally, electoral reforms. This is about fixing the system's plumbing. Campaign finance reforms are key to reducing the influence of money in politics.
The ongoing debate about state funding of elections is a very relevant example to discuss here.
Precisely. 3. Conclusion. The conclusion should be forward-looking. You should state that for our democracy to thrive, we need systemic reforms that create a welcoming environment for the next generation of ethical leaders.
It's not about asking young people to compromise their ethics. It's about changing the system so they don't have to.
That's a very comprehensive structure. Let's do some cross questions.
Okay.
1. What is the best way to structure the barriers and solutions part?
The most effective way is a problem-solution format. For every barrier you identify, try to provide a corresponding solution. For instance, barrier, criminalization of politics. Solution, stricter laws and faster judicial verdicts for cases against politicians.
Logical and coherent. Good.
2. How do I maintain a balanced tone in this answer without sounding too cynical about politics?
While you have to be realistic about the problems, your tone in the solutions part should be constructive and optimistic. Focus on actionable steps and show that change, while difficult, is possible.
Hope is important.
Crucial.
3. How do I connect my examples to current affairs to show I'm well-read?
Mentioning recent reports from bodies like ADR ongoing legislative debates on topics like electoral bonds or initiatives by the Election Commission shows that you can apply your knowledge to the current Indian context.
It makes the answer feel alive.
Yes.
4. How should I define ethical conduct in the introduction?
Define it specifically for politics. For example, in the political context, ethical conduct means a steadfast commitment to public service, personal integrity, and upholding constitutional values above any personal or party interest.
Sets a clear standard.
Yes.
5. How can I make my conclusion really powerful and inspiring?
End with a strong vision or a call to action. For instance, encouraging ethical youth to join politics is not just an option. It is an urgent investment in the future health and integrity of our democracy.
Love that. Pause and try to articulate one barrier for youth in politics and its corresponding solution. Practice now.
In short, to attract ethical young people to politics, we must fix the system by increasing transparency, reducing criminalization, and actively promoting mentorship and democracy within political parties.
Question. Our attitudes towards life, work, other people, and society are generally shaped unconsciously by the family and the social surroundings. A. Discuss such undesirable values prevalent in today's educated Indians. B. How can such undesirable attitudes be changed and socio-ethical values be cultivated in civil servants?
Broad micro-theme. Unconscious attitudes and value cultivation. The topic is the baggage we carry, unlearning and relearning values. This is a really deep, introspective question.
It is. Part A asks us to identify the undesirable values that even educated Indians have unconsciously learned from family and society.
And Part B then asks how we can change these attitudes and cultivate the right values, specifically in our civil servants.
This is so relatable. Think about the VIP culture we see everywhere.
It's a disease.
A highly educated person who knows all about equality might still try to use a connection to jump a queue or get a traffic ticket waived.
That sense of entitlement.
Exactly. That "do you know who I am" attitude is a perfect example of an unconsciously learned undesirable value.
Precisely. Let's break down how to answer this.
Okay.
Introduction. You should start by acknowledging that social conditioning is a powerful force that shapes our values, often without us even realizing it.
And this can create a conflict between our traditional, unconsciously learned attitudes and the modern democratic values our Constitution promotes.
Exactly. 2. Body part A, undesirable values. Here, you need to identify and explain a few.
Okay, what's first?
Entitlement. This is the feeling that you deserve special treatment without having earned it. VIP culture is the classic example, using power or influence to bypass rules that apply to everyone else.
Lack of empathy.
This is a disconnect from the struggles of people who are different from us.
The source mentions the apathy shown by a section of urban, educated society towards the plight of migrant workers during the COVID-19 lockdown. It was a stark example of a lack of compassion.
It was heartbreaking. Materialism. This is when we prioritize material wealth and possessions over ethical values and social responsibility. Conspicuous consumption, driven by social media, is a huge example of this.
The source smartly suggests you can contrast this with Gandhi's philosophy of simple living, high thinking.
A very powerful contrast. Now for body part B. Cultivating socio-ethical values in civil servants. This is the solution-oriented part.
Okay, how do we fix it?
Promoting ethical awareness. The first step to changing an unconscious attitude is to become conscious of it. Training programs for civil servants, like the ethics modules at LBSNA, use case studies that force future officers to reflect on their own biases and values.
Mentorship and role modeling. Learning from ethical senior officers is crucial. The source suggests mentorship programs where junior officers are paired with seniors known for their integrity.
This helps them navigate ethical dilemmas in their careers. And finally,
Reinforcing constitutional values. The Constitution should be the ultimate moral guide for a civil servant. Their training must constantly reinforce core constitutional values like equality, Article 14, justice, and fraternity.
3. Conclusion. You must conclude by emphasizing that cultivating desirable values is not a one-time training event. It is a continuous process of learning, unlearning, and relearning.
And this process is essential for building a just society and a truly responsive public service.
That makes perfect sense. Let's drill down with some cross questions.
Ready.
1. How do I create a smooth transition between part A and part B of the answer?
Use a clear connecting sentence. For example, recognizing these undesirable values is the first critical step. The next, more crucial step, especially for our future leaders in public service, is to actively cultivate positive socio-ethical values to counteract them.
Good. It links the problem to the solution.
2. How can I make my examples specific to educated Indians, as the question asks?
Choose examples that are more prevalent in the educated urban class. For instance, corporate materialism or urban apathy towards rural issues are better examples than a general societal issue like dowry, which cuts across all classes.
Be specific to the target group.
Exactly.
3. How do I make the solutions for civil servants sound practical and not just theoretical?
Mention specific real-world institutions and programs. Naming LBSNAA, the National Judicial Academy, or specific mentorship schemes shows that your solutions are grounded in the current reality of the Indian administration.
It shows you've done your homework.
Yes.
4. Where can I fit in thinkers like Gandhi or Aristotle in this answer?
Use them to provide a strong foundation. For example, use Gandhi's idea of simple living to contrast with materialism in Part A. In part B, you can use Aristotle's concept of virtue ethics, the idea that virtue is a habit built through practice.
Which provides a philosophical basis for the continuous training of civil servants.
Exactly.
5. What should be the tone of this answer? Should it be critical or constructive?
It needs to be both. You should be critically self-aware in part A when discussing the problems, but constructive and optimistic in part B when you propose the solutions.
A balanced and mature perspective.
Okay, pose करके एक undesirable value और उसको counter करने के लिए एक solution बोलो. Practice.
In short, we must first become aware of our unconsciously learned negative values, like entitlement, and then actively cultivate positive constitutional values through continuous training, mentorship, and self-reflection, especially in our civil servants.
Question: How could social influence and persuasion contribute to the success of Swachh Bharat Abhiyan 2016?
Broad micro theme: social influence for behavioral change. The topic is changing a billion habits, the psychology behind Swachh Bharat. This is such a cool question because the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan wasn't just about building toilets.
Not at all.
At its core, it was a mission to change people's deep-rooted habits and attitudes about cleanliness. So this question is asking how psychological tools like social influence and persuasion can make a massive mission like this successful.
Exactly. It's all about psychology. When a respected celebrity like Amitabh Bachchan appears on TV and says, "Darwaza band, to bimari band," people listen.
That's using his social influence and credibility.
Yes. Or when there's a competition in a village to see which neighborhood is the cleanest, people start changing their behavior to conform to the group.
That's peer pressure, a form of social influence. Cool, na?
Totally. So let's break down the answer structure.
Let's do it.
1. Introduction. You should start by framing the core challenge of Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, SBA, as one of behavioral change, not just infrastructure creation.
Then we introduce social influence and persuasion as the key psychological tools needed to achieve this ambitious goal.
Perfect. 2. Body. This should be divided into two main parts. First, leveraging social influence.
Okay.
Celebrities as role models. Public endorsements from figures people trust and admire create instant awareness and credibility. The association of Amitabh Bachchan with the campaign was a masterstroke.
It made it a household name.
Harnessing peer pressure. Creating a sense of collective responsibility within a community is incredibly powerful.
The example of village-level cleanliness competitions in states like Haryana is perfect. It turns sanitation from a private issue into a matter of community pride.
Exactly. Engaging community leaders. In India, local leaders, like a village sarpanch, a school teacher, or a religious leader, hold immense influence.
The source gives the example of religious leaders in Gujarat promoting cleanliness during festivals. Their word carries a lot of weight.
True. The second part of the body is persuasion through effective communication.
How was that done?
Positive messaging. It's more effective to frame messages around positive outcomes, like good health, dignity for women, and national pride, rather than using fear-based messaging.
The slogan, Clean India, Healthy India, is a great example of connecting cleanliness to a direct personal benefit.
Yes. Targeted campaigns. One size doesn't fit all. The campaign's messages were cleverly tailored for specific audiences. For example, the focus on school children through educational programs was a brilliant long-term strategy.
To instill good hygiene habits in the next generation.
Utilizing multiple media channels. To reach every corner of a country as diverse as India, you have to use every channel available. The campaign effectively used a mix of TV, radio, social media, and even traditional methods like street plays in rural areas.
The radio jingles were especially effective in reaching areas with low literacy.
They were. 3. Conclusion. You should conclude by stating that the strategic use of social influence and persuasion is a critical lesson from SBA. It's a template that can be used for the success of any large-scale behavioral change mission in the future.
Be it water conservation or road safety.
Perfect. Breakdown. Let's do some cross questions.
Okay.
1. What is the fundamental difference between social influence and persuasion?
A great clarifying question. Social influence is often passive. It works through our desire to fit in with social norms and imitate others. Persuasion is an active attempt to change someone's attitude or behavior through direct communication, logic, and emotional appeals.
So one is conforming, the other is convincing.
Exactly.
2. How can I bring Aristotle into this answer to add some flair?
Definitely. When you're discussing persuasive communication, you can mention Aristotle's 3 modes of rhetoric: ethos, credibility; pathos, emotion; and logos, logic. You can argue that the SBA campaign masterfully used all 3.
Good value addition.
3. How do I make my examples more impactful?
Directly connect the example to the psychological concept. For instance, Amitabh Bachchan's involvement provided the ethos or credibility, a key pillar of Aristotelian persuasion, which made the message more effective and trustworthy for millions.
Link the theory and the practice.
Always.
5. What's the clearest way to structure this answer?
The best way is to use 2 main headings: leveraging social influence and persuasion through effective communication, with clear, distinct bullet points under each. This makes your answer super easy for the examiner to read and follow.
Clarity is key.
Yes.
5. What could be a good future-looking statement for the conclusion?
You can suggest that the valuable lessons learned from SBA's campaign strategy should now be applied to other critical national missions, like the Jal Shakti Abhiyan for water conservation or the push for renewable energy adoption.
Brilliant. Pause and name 1 social influence tactic and 1 persuasion tactic used in SBI. Practice saying it.
In short, the success of Swachh Bharat hinges on changing mindsets, which is achieved by using powerful psychological tools like role models, peer pressure, and positive targeted communication.
Question. Two different kinds of attitudes exhibited by public servants towards their work have been identified as the bureaucratic attitude and the democratic attitude. A. Distinguish between these two terms and write their merits and demerits. B. Is it possible to balance the two?
2015.
Broad micro-theme. Bureaucratic versus democratic attitudes in governance. The topic is the administrator's dilemma: follow the rules or listen to the people. This is a classic governance question.
It is.
It's about two fundamental styles. The bureaucratic attitude is all about strict adherence to rules, hierarchy, and procedures. Think order and efficiency.
And the democratic attitude is about citizen participation, flexibility, and being responsive to people's needs. The question asks for their pros and cons and whether a balance can be struck.
This is such a great contrast to think about. Let's use real-world examples. Think of a passport seva kendra. It's fast, efficient, and standardized.
Yes. Predictable.
You know exactly what documents you need, and the process is predictable. That is the merit of a bureaucratic attitude: impartiality and efficiency.
And for democratic attitude.
On the other hand, think of the MyGov platform, where citizens can share their ideas and suggestions for government policies. That is the merit of a democratic attitude: participation and responsiveness. Both are incredibly useful. Yaad rakhna.
Perfect examples. Let's structure the answer.
Okay.
Introduction. You should start by clearly defining both attitudes. The source suggests mentioning Max Weber for the bureaucratic attitude.
And for the democratic attitude, we could mention Mahatma Gandhi's concept of Swaraj or grassroots participation.
Perfect. 2. Body part A. Distinction, merits and demerits. It's best to present this clearly one by one.
Okay, let's start with bureaucratic attitude.
Merits. Predictability and order, like the Passport Seva Kendra. Impartiality, like the UPSC exam process. And clear accountability, like audits done by the CAG.
Demerits. The downside is rigidity, which can cause terrible delays during a disaster. It can also be impersonal with complex forms, and of course, the infamous red tape.
Right. Now for the democratic attitude.
To tools like the RTI Act.
Demerits. The downside is that it can be inefficient due to long consultations. It can also be susceptible to populism, like announcing farm loan waivers. And impartiality can be compromised due to pressure from powerful lobby groups.
Makes sense. Now for body part B, balancing the two.
Here, your answer must be a confident yes. A balance is not just possible, it is essential for good governance in the 21st century.
We need the efficiency of bureaucracy combined with the heart of democracy.
Well said. You can then suggest ways to achieve this balance. Empowering officers with more discretion to be flexible, but within a transparent framework to ensure accountability.
And using technology is another great way to increase both efficiency and public participation.
Exactly.
3. Conclusion. You should conclude by saying that the ultimate goal of modern administration is to create a system that is both efficient and equitable.
Which requires smartly combining the strengths of both the bureaucratic and democratic attitudes to achieve faster and more inclusive national development.
Excellent. Let's get to the cross questions.
Go ahead.
1. What is the clearest possible format to present the merits and demerits?
A table is the absolute best way if you have time. If not, use very clear subheadings. For example, bureaucratic attitude, then under it, merits with bullet points and demerits with bullet points. Clarity is king here.
Very practical advice.
Good.
2. How can I keep the answer to part B short and impactful?
Yes, not only is a balance possible, it is necessary for effective governance in a modern democracy.
3.
How do I make my examples more specific and less vague?
Instead of just saying project delays, be specific. Lengthy land acquisition processes for critical infrastructure projects. Specificity shows you have a deep and practical understanding of the issues.
The details matter.
They do.
4. Where should I use the names of theorists like Weber?
Use them in the introduction to define the concepts. Use Max Weber to explain the logic and merits of bureaucracy, efficiency, order. And you can use democratic thinkers like Gandhi to explain the spirit of participation.
To ground the answer in theory.
Exactly.
Good governance. The World Bank's definition of good governance actually combines the merits of both attitudes. It includes efficiency, a bureaucratic merit, as well as participation and accountability, democratic merits.
This connects the answer to a broader global framework.
Wow, brilliant. Pause and state one merit of the bureaucratic attitude and one merit of the democratic attitude. Rehearse.
In short, the best administration is a hybrid that balances the machine-like efficiency of a bureaucratic attitude with the human-centric responsiveness of a democratic attitude to achieve good governance.
Question. What factors affect the formation of a person's attitude towards social problems? In our society, contrasting attitudes are prevalent about many social problems. What contrasting attitudes do you notice about the caste system in our society? How do you explain the existence of these contrasting attitudes?
2014.
Broad micro-theme. Attitude formation towards social problems. The topic is the caste conundrum, why we see it so differently. This is a really profound, multi-layered question.
It is, in 3 parts.
First, how is our attitude towards social problems formed?
Second, what are the different contrasting attitudes about the caste system specifically?
And third, the most important part, why do these different attitudes even exist?
It's all about our lived realities, isn't it? A person who has faced caste discrimination their entire life will see the caste system as a brutal, everyday reality, right? For them, it's not a theoretical concept.
But another person who grew up in a privileged urban environment and has never personally faced it might genuinely believe it's a thing of the past that's only kept alive by politics.
Same society, two completely different realities, leading to two contrasting attitudes. थोड़ा सोच लो इस पर.
That's the perfect way to frame it. So let's structure this complex answer.
Yes, please.
1. Introduction. You should start by stating that attitudes towards deep-rooted social problems are complex and are shaped by a mix of factors.
Then we introduce the caste system as a prime example of an issue in Indian society that evokes deeply contrasting, often conflicting attitudes.
Good. 2. Body part 1. Factors affecting attitude formation.
What's the biggest factor?
Personal experiences. This is the most powerful factor. Direct or indirect encounters with a problem shape our views. A Dalit student who has faced discrimination in school will have a strong anti-caste attitude.
While an upper caste individual with no such experience might be indifferent or even defensive about the issue.
Cultural and societal norms. Our upbringing, family values, and community traditions play a huge role. The widespread practice of endogamy, marrying within one's own caste, is a powerful social norm that unconsciously reinforces caste distinctions.
Education and awareness. Education can be a powerful tool to challenge old prejudices. The critical thinking that education fosters can make a person question traditions and biases they grew up with.
Correct. Body part 2. Contrasting attitudes towards caste system. Here, you list the different viewpoints that exist.
Okay.
Acceptance and justification. Some people, often citing tradition or a misinterpretation of religious texts, continue to accept or even justify the hierarchical structure of the caste system.
Critique and opposition. This is the viewpoint that actively critiques and opposes the caste system, advocating for a society based on equality and social justice.
The philosophy of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar is the most powerful and articulate representation of this attitude.
And what's the third one?
Ambivalence and indifference. A large segment of society, especially in urban areas, remains indifferent. They may feel it doesn't personally affect them, or they may lack awareness of how it continues to impact life in rural India.
Right. Body part 3 and conclusion. How do you explain the existence of these contrasting attitudes?
This is the synthesis part of your answer. You explain that these contrasting attitudes exist precisely because of the interplay of the factors you mentioned in the first part.
A person's attitude is a unique product of their personal experience, cultural conditioning, and level of education.
Exactly. You conclude by saying that since there is no single Indian experience of caste, the only way forward is to promote empathy, dialogue, and a steadfast commitment to the constitutional values of equality and fraternity.
Aiming for the annihilation of caste as envisioned by leaders like Dr. Ambedkar.
A very sensitive topic handled well. Let's do the cross questions.
Okay.
How do I make sure I answer all parts of this multi-part question properly?
Use separate, clear headings for each part of the question. For instance, factors affecting attitude formation, contrasting attitudes on the caste system, and explanation for the existence of contrasting attitudes. This ensures you don't miss anything.
A structured approach is key.
2. How do I effectively answer the how do you explain part?
This is about connecting the dots. You need to explicitly link the factors from part 1 to the attitudes from part 2. For example, the attitude of indifference is often explained by the factor of a lack of personal experience with discrimination, which is more common in privileged urban settings.
Show the cause and effect link.
Yes.
3. How do I keep the answer sensitive and balanced?
Your role here is that of an objective analyst, not an activist. Present the different attitudes as they exist in society without being preachy. Ground your analysis in sociological principles and constitutional values, not personal opinion.
Be academic, not emotional.
Right.
4. Where can I include thinkers like Dr. Ambedkar or theories like Kohlberg's?
You can mention Kohlberg's theory of moral development when discussing how attitudes are formed in the first part. And Dr. Ambedkar is absolutely essential when you discuss the critique and opposition viewpoint. His name is non-negotiable.
Understood.
5. What powerful message can I leave in the conclusion?
The message should be about the path forward. It should emphasize the importance of empathy, trying to understand realities different from our own, and the role of education in dismantling prejudice. The ultimate goal is to fulfill the constitutional promise of a casteless society. A very powerful way to end. Pause and try to explain why two people can have different attitudes towards the caste system using one of the factors we discussed. Practice.
In short, our attitudes towards the caste system are shaped by our unique life experiences, culture, and education, leading to vastly different and often conflicting viewpoints that coexist in our society.
Wow, what a massive session. तो आज हमने देखा कि attitude सिर्फ एक personal trait नहीं है. It's the absolute foundation of good governance.
Absolutely.
Broad micro-theme recap. The attitude blueprint. Civil services में सफलता की कुंजी.
Let's do a super quick summary of everything we learned.
Yes.
We saw how a positive mindset can turn the same set of rules into powerful life-changing results.
We learned that the attitude of a public servant is actively built through empathy, integrity, and a commitment to continuous learning.
We understood that staying positive under extreme stress requires both internal resilience and external support systems.
And we explored how attitude and social influence shape everything in our society, from who enters politics to the success of national missions like Swachh Bharat and our views on complex issues like the caste system.
And here's a final provocative thought to chew on.
We talked a lot about unconscious attitudes that we learn from society. If you were designing a training module for new civil servants today, what is the one unconscious attitude, be it entitlement, apathy, an urban-rural bias, or something else that you would focus on changing first, and why?
Wow.
Think about it. The answer might just reveal what is believed to be our society's biggest challenge right now.
That is a brilliant thought to leave our listeners with. उम्मीद है इस गहरी, deep discussion से बहुत value मिली होगी. If it did, please share this with your friends. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
Until next time.
Keep learning, keep growing.